So in today's video, we're going to be doing our best to replicate this build right here. So this that you see in front of you is what I've come up with as a way of replicating it. Now, I will say it's not like a 100% replication because there are certain build pieces in the in-game structure that we don't have access to in our build menu. Now, I do want to say, guys, that no mods are required in order to build this structure that you see here. I am in a modded world, and that's just to speed up the rate at which I can produce my videos, but this does work in vanilla. I've tested it and it will work for you guys. That being said, I think it looks pretty cool and could certainly have its uses in the game. So let me show you how we build this. I'm giving away free copies of Valheim to my subscribers. Plus, I'm on the road to 100,000 subscribers, and then I'd get one of these, which would really mean the world to me. So please do consider subscribing. So the first thing that we are going to need is going to be this stuff right here, which is the new black marble floor. So start by placing 2 blocks down next to each other, just like this. And this block right here is where the stairs are going to start for the entrance. We're then going to come back here and place back another few blocks just like this, 3 on each one. And we're then going to place a block on top of each one of those blocks we just placed. So you'll then have something that looks like this. We're now going to get the new black marble stairs and place them down, one here, and then one up there and one up there. And this, of course, is the stairs up to the entrance. Next, we're going to place down the doors, and I'm going to go ahead and use these right here, the dark wood gates. So we come up to the top of the stairs. I'm going to place that snapping onto this block here, and then another one back to this block right here. So it will look like that. Now, the in-game structures are left with the doors open, as you can see here. So if you want to create that, I'm going to show you how you can do a similar sort of effect later on in the video. However, for a few of the other things we're going to be placing down, you do still need to have these doors placed like this to start off. So the next thing to build is going to be this right here. We've got these black marble plinths, which is this one right here, and then this one right here. So we've got a plinth and we've got a cornice. So starting with the plinth, we come down here. Now you'll see, like, if I place it there like that, it sort of snaps to the edge of this block that we're looking at. However, if I look at the door, I can get it to snap to the door like this, and then we can just go across here like this. It's a little bit tricky, but there we go. We get it to snap on the corner just like that. So let's place that there. So it will now look like this, and this diagonal bit comes down about halfway through the black door, as you can see here, and then has an overhang on the left-hand side. Also, you can see the door is nicely indented, which is great because it actually gives the build a little bit more depth. The next thing to do is, of course, to rotate this around and replicate it on the other side. So with those two placed down, what we now need to do is place down the lanterns. So if we go ahead and go to the furniture menu, we're going to look at these right here, which are the diverger wall lanterns. Now we place these down because we want to get the chain effect of these lanterns. So what we can do is just hold shift and place one on that top corner of the door and one of that top corner, just like that. Now the next thing that we're going to build is going to be the cornice. So if I go over to here, we get these black marble cornices just like this. So we rotate that one around. Of course, we can create the hexagon effect there like that, and then rotate it around the other way to create the hexagon effect on the other side of the door. So this will then look like this. And the nice thing about this is now these lanterns are hanging through, and it just looks like they're hanging on a chain. So if I place another lantern down here just a second, I can show you what I mean, the difference is. So basically this now sticks out a long way and has this bit to it and the pole, whereas this one's just like a little bit of pole and then the chain. Now you want to select the dark wood 2-meter beam and go ahead and place 3 down. So we can place one snapped up to there, one on there, and then one snapped up to there. So it'll then look like this. So next what you want to do is select this right here, the stone pillar, and come up to the door with it. And we want to place it around about here. So it's got to be centered on the door and centered on these lines, but we want it placed there so it's a little way out from the door, as you can see just here. And then place another one on top of that just there. Next, go back up on top of the structure and select the 1x1, and let's place that on top of the stone pillars that we just placed. So now it will look like this, and this is how we're going to create the little indent. Then we're going to select the 2x1 again and place that in behind there, and then we're going to go ahead and delete the 2 stone pillars, and then it will look like this. So those 2 stone pillars were just there so we could place this 1x1 on top to get that effect. But once we've gone ahead and placed this one, this is then holding that, so it'll sort of all work out and it'll stay in place. Now at this stage you have a few options. You could go ahead and place a lantern down up here to give it a bit of a nice effect. So that would look like that, and that's pretty cool. You can also use an item stand, and there's a couple things you can do with this. The item stand placed on its own without holding anything looks pretty cool in my opinion. However, you could, if you want, hang a trophy up on it as well. That is the Jarl trophy, which maybe is a bit too big, but you get the point. There's different things you could put up there depending on what you like. Another thing that can look pretty cool is to place a ward up here. As you see, we got one just there. So this would obviously have protection properties, and it does look kind of cool. And if you're building this as part of a bigger build that had a big wall up behind this, then I think it would look even better again. And finally, I've placed a wolf trophy up there as well, just to show you what that looks like. So just a few options there, a few ideas for you guys to get creative with and make this build your own. The next step is to get one of these right here, these black marble 1x1x1s, and I'm going to place them underneath here. So one there and one there, so that links up nicely to the build we've already done there. And then over on this side, we place one here and one here as well. With those in place, we're going back to our black marble plinths, and we're going to rotate this around to get a bit of a diagonal effect here. So by placing this about here and using the shift key, we want it to overlap this corner here just so slightly. So let's just get really close up here and see where we can get it. So about there should be really good. Let's place that down, and we can just check here and make sure there's no air gaps gaps visible through it, which there aren't, because if there are, it's not going to look very good. At this stage, we go back to getting our 1x1x1s, and we're going to place them all one on top of the other until we get to the top of this build. So you then have something that looks like this. And of course, we're going to go ahead and do the same on the other side, making sure to have the same angle of diagonal rotation, and then placing all those 1x1s on top. At this stage, we go to the furniture tab, and we're going to select this right here, which are the new blue jute drapes. I'm going to place those on this little ridge right here. So basically just one down from the top, and we're going to place that down there just like that, and then rotate it around and do the same on the other side. So then it will look like this. And that is how you build this section of the build. But I did mention that we can do it with the door open. So let me show you how we do that. So if we go ahead and destroy these two doors right here, then we're going to right click, go to building, and select these doors once again. Now, if we're standing about here, we can go ahead and get it to snap there just like that. So we're going to place that one down there. Then we're going to rotate it 180 degrees and place this one like back to back with that one. So it's going to go there like that. So it looks like the door's sort of left open, and then you could just run in and out. And it's a little bit more similar to what you have in the in-game structures. Although personally, this wouldn't be my preferred choice. I like the doors the way I did them in the intro shot and the way that they sort of can be open and closed properly. But I thought I'd mention it nonetheless in case you guys wanted to do that. So with that built, let's take a look now at the wisp light towers that generate in-game. So to get started with this, select a wooden beam 2 meters, and basically the center of this beam is where the wisp light is going to be. So that's what you want to be thinking about when you're placing this down. So I'm just going to go ahead and place it roughly there, and that's where the center will be. After that, you want to get one of these right here, the wood pole 1 meters, and you want to hold shift so you're placing this on top. If I zoom in real quick, you'll see that when we place it, it will snap to the floor, whereas if I hold shift, it comes up above this, and that's the whole point of us doing this. So we place that down there just like that. Then you want to grab your wisp torch and place it on top, and obviously we're trying to get it as central as possible on that wooden piece. With that done, go back to building, and again select the black marble plinth and rotate it round so you got it facing this way. Now again, by holding shift, we can place this down, and of course we're trying to get that wisp light to be roughly centered on that top square of black marble about there. We're then going to rotate round like this, and we're going to come in, and we just need to snap it in, and it's a little bit tricky, but there you go. You see how we can snap that in? So you come in around here, and as you look in just the right spot, it will snap in like that. You want to do the same around the back here, snap that in there, and then the same over on this side as well, and just about here. Let's see if we can get it. Okay, there we go. Snap it in there. Can be a little bit fiddly that, but it's how it's done. At this stage, what we're going to do is get these right here. These are the cage wall 1x1s. Now you need to place down 2 of these. So I'm going to place one here just like this, and one on the other side just like that. And the reason being is because the visibility is going to be better from the front of this thing. So if this is my base and I was building this here, I'd probably want the visibility to be from this side. If we're over here, you can see the visibility is not quite as good. It's not terrible, but it's just not as good. So you might want to think about that when you're placing these down. Next, you want to go ahead and select one of these right here. This is the cage floor 1x1. Then when we're over here, if we hold down shift, we can get this raised just a little bit above the black marble, but keeping it below the wisp light just like that. And this is just to try and simulate the circular iron piece that the wisp light sits on in the generated in-game structures. Now comes the trickier bit, which is putting the roof on this thing, and for that we need these right here, the black marble quarter spire. So the easiest way for me to show you this is going to be on just a stone piece for now, and basically you got like these different orientations of this. But if I were placing this on a flat piece of floor, you'll see that if we place a piece here like this and then rotate around and place a piece like this, and we keep doing this the whole way around, then we end up with this, which is the roof structure we're going to be putting on top of there. Again, this isn't exactly the same as the in-game structure because we don't have the pieces, but I think it's pretty close. So a good way to start this is to look at a piece of floor and make sure you're orientated the right way, and you could just use a quick like wooden floor. It doesn't have to be stone, but just make sure you got the right orientation for your first piece. Okay, so now we need to get this place just about right. So let's see, we've got the right orientation. I'm just going to get it about there. It's going to be good. And we might be a bit of trial and error required for you to get this just right. But then we rotate it around so that this bit links up to this bit, and then it will like be all sort of flush. And you can see this side here is flat, and if we go around here, this looks like it is connected, so that's been done correctly. And then we rotate it around a bit more for the other 2 corners. So 1 rotation, 2 rotations, and there we go. And then it creates this thing right here. Now the final stage to completing this is to go ahead into the building section and select these right here, the black marble quarter spires. Then you need them rotated so that if they were placed here, they would essentially complete the corner, and you could actually place them like that if you wanted to. However, I prefer to use the shift key and to look down here a bit like this and to get them just a little bit offset. So about there. And then you go ahead and do this for each of the 4 corners, of course. And then the build looks like this. It just has a bit more structure and depth to the build that way, and I think it's quite nice that way. So the dad jokes are of course coming, guys. I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please do consider liking and subscribing. But for now, I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. What did one plate say to another plate? Tonight, dinner's on me. Barbers, you have to take your hat off to them. There's only one thing I can't deal with, and that's a deck of cards that are glued together. The past, the present, and the future walked into a bar. It was tense. Knock knock, who's there? No bell. No bell who? No bell, so I just knocked.